So continuing to get a lot out of the Waking Up app from Sam Harris, and I thought today I would talk through some more of the pointers that are coming in those meditation practices. It says specifically, and I mentioned this in the last video. What I particularly like about the Waking Up app and the material that Sam Harris is presenting is its real focus on the comprehension of the impermanence of the self and how to really take the steps and make the moves that we have to make as practitioners to recognize and then stabilize that experience. And Sam is great with this because he recognizes that there's nothing occult about this experience. In fact, emphasizes that it is right on the surface of our day-to-day existence, the comprehension of really this most seminal, most important teaching of Buddhism, the impermanence of the self, the understanding of what that means, and the experience of what that means, or the experience of that reality of the nature of the self, is the bedrock from which all the other realizations and practices unfold, whether that's loving kindness or some of the more focused dissection of reality. It all starts with this true hands-on or mind-on or mind-off realization of the nature of self. But the other part that I really appreciate with Sam and the way that he talks about this is that these instructions can be baffling. And look, I've practiced one form of meditation or another since I was 15 years old. And that's 40 years in one form or another, not really knowing what that, I mean, it's easy to describe it in rational language, that of course the self, it changes. And then it's kind of okay to say, well, the self then is a process. Those are words that, you know, I'm very comfortable saying that I understand what they mean. But if you ask me, do I experience that? Well, so here's a typical experience for me as I'm meditating. And meditation in this context is really scrutinizing the artifacts of the mind, whether they are thoughts or experiences, sensations, or this idea of the self. A lot of the exercises that Sam or his colleagues or partners will present are look at that part that is looking. If I'm very comfortable sitting there saying, oh, I observe my thoughts arising and I'm not attached to them, I can see them. But there's an I that's seeing. So then I will scrutinize that I, the part that's observing, and say, oh yeah, that's part of the arising phenomena as well. But I've just shifted the trick. I've shifted the game from one observer to another one. And then I'll do that again, and I find myself going in this kaleidoscope of chasing selves. And getting quite frustrated, because wherever I am is a clearly defined observer. Except that then there isn't that. Like, everything that's left outside of that cat and mouse or dog circling its own tail, everything else is awareness. All that frustration that I feel that I'm just not getting it, all of that energy and excitement that's being created as I observe one observer and then another, and then a step back to a third observer and a fourth and a fifth and an nth layer of observation, each one feeling very firmly defined in the moment. Uh, everything that isn't that excruciating tail chasing experience is awareness. Then it's a question of becoming familiar with that awareness and being honest about the context of that awareness. I think the other thing I'm coming to appreciate is that there's nothing neutral about awareness. And again, these are words that I've used for decades, that the base of awareness is cognizant. But that doesn't mean that it's an observer. And so this is still words for me. I think the unraveling of that connection between awareness and observer is sort of the next round, the next the bit that I'm thinking about right now. But it's quite a relief to realize actually that there isn't anything that I need to unravel about the self. The self doesn't survive scrutiny. That may be the topic for my next video. But that participating dance of mutual observers that I was talking about, at no point can that sustain itself. And when I ask what is scrutinizing it, really, here's the other image that actually has been quite helpful. I can feel my attention focused on an object, whether it's the object in front of me for meditation, whether it's my breath, or whether it's the more equanimous stabilization of contemplating or simply setting back into. I can feel awareness or attention move with greater or lesser broadness, with more broadness or more granularity. And I can see attention focus on objects and experiences. But then when I follow the attention back, it doesn't go anywhere. So the other piece that I'm recognizing and realizing right now is the initiating, see what I'm paying attention to, and then trace back to where the attention originates from. And there is nothing there, except that must be cognizant awareness. So if I take those two together, this is kind of where I'm at today in my experiencing of meditation. If I look at the dog chasing its tail, which is my multiplicity of observers that never let up, and if I look and see where's the originator of the attention that's focused on those observers, that seems to shift things. And it's a deliberate move. There's effort involved for me to do this right now. You can hear my dogs. Those of you who listen to these videos a lot know that my dogs, noisy little buggers, they're still puppies. They're 10 months old now. Anyway, I think that's a good stop. Please do let me know if you're going through the Waking Up app yourself, if you have similar experiences or different experiences or questions or suggestions for how I can think differently. I'm really focused right now on this part of the practice of digging into the realization of the nature of self, and finding it tremendously valuable. So keep your wits about you, my friends. I'll talk to you again soon.